prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Fulke here. I just want to give a shout out to Boogie Bentley, Dauber, and the Indy Kid over at the Talkin VAWLS network on YouTube. Keep doing your thing, guys. Go VAWLS.
That we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
My name is the Indy Kid.
It is SEC Media Days. We got a lot of content coming your guys' way, and I thought, hey, why not? Let's just go live. Let's go live, and let's stream up Josh Heupel's press conference appearance, whatever you want to call it. So we'll get that keyed up here in just a moment, and we'll go through. We'll pause. We'll get your comments. We'll drop some comments. But welcome on in. Do us a favor, as always. Go ahead and smash that thumbs up. If you're new, welcome on in. This is the live version. This is Talkin VAWLS live. Dauber is out celebrating a birthday. He's the only guy that celebrates a birthday 8 days early. I guess it's like a long deal for him. I don't know. But happy early birthday to Dauber. He'll be back for the video that's going to drop tomorrow, the fall of ball football. I know some of you guys dig it. Some of you don't. But that'll be posted in the morning. Let's run down the chat. Let's see who is here. Ketsky007, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. You've now got access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. If you're still here, I encourage you to go ahead and drop those in the chat. Show them off. We appreciate each and every one of you guys that is a member. Paul Camp is here and says, well, we got another Butch Jones Jr. Elijah Allen is here to argue and disagree and says, what are you even talking about? Brady Hutton is here. What's up, Brady? Glad to have you here on the show. Fallout Zone is here. My stepbrother, Mr. Kevin Eldridge, is here. Shout out to him. Give him a big thank you. Big round of applause for him. He is the one that designs all of the logos for the merchandise. Anything graphic-wise, he's the one that does that. Lucas Sharp is here. What's up, Lucas? How's it going, guys? Come on in. We're going to get into it. We're going to share it up here in just a moment. We're glad that you're here. Hit that thumbs up. Let's get rocking and rolling. Indy Kid, have you even watched this yet, or is this going to be a true first-time live reaction?
I caught like the last couple questions on it, and then I did read all the transcripts from it to see what I was asked and things of that nature. And I'd just like to say too, it's kind of fun live chat. I kind of feel like these wrestling companies who've returned to live crowds this week. It's fun doing videos and this and that, but you know, you got that live crowd. It's just, it amps you up just a little bit more. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit more fire. A little bit more fire.
But, yeah, back to the question. I think I caught the last two questions on it, and one of them was about Barry Odom, which I didn't really get while that's asked at a Tennessee press conference, but so be it. I don't know. It's Samantha, I caught Heupel on with Tessitore and McElroy. I caught him answering questions there after the press conference. So, you know, they had some pretty good questions for him as well.
Yeah, he was on SEC in the morning, which I caught that. That's what led to the Joe Milton video, and we're going to get into that. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about quarterbacks, but I want to kind of go through the press conference, and as things come up, we'll address them and kind of get into it. But I thought he was supposed to be on SportsCenter, but I had SportsCenter turned on this morning, and I never saw him show up on that. So I don't know what the deal was with that, but we'll get into it. Donovan Milliken, it is so good to see your smiling face back. I was glad to see you in the group today. Drops a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. Says Heupel did well today. Finally felt good to not have an idiot up there Personally, he is comfortable in his skin. Yeah, that's one thing they say about him. They say he does not care what people think. He is comfortable in his skin. John Hill, what's going on, John? He says, thanks for the videos and doing this. Let's go Big Orange. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a member of the channel. All right, let's go ahead and let's jump into it. We'll get into it. The press conference is about 27 minutes. We'll pause it. We'll make comments, and we'll go as long as you guys want to go tonight. As long as you show up, show out, hit that like button, share out the link, blast it out on social media, let people know we're live. But let's go ahead and cue it up and hope we don't get copyright struck, because I don't know if SEC Media Days gets copyright strikes. We'll find out here shortly. Let's go.
Good morning. Hope everybody's.
And I'm pausing it 2 seconds in because, God help me, the guy right there on the right of the screen, Heupel's left, he's got the microphone. He calls on the press, the press to drop their comments. Can we please let him know to stop breathing in the microphone? And I want to make an announcement. That is not me and the Indy Kid. This dude has been breathing in the microphone since 10 o'clock this morning. So he is going to do it throughout the entire press conference. So just buckle up and get ready for it. All right. Now that that's out of the way.
Doing great. So excited to be here. First SEC Media Days. Excited to get a chance to see you guys in person for the first time. I have done a lot of Zoom calls with you here over the last 6 months for sure, and maybe longer than that. But excited to be here and have an opportunity to represent Tennessee. I hope you guys have had a great summer. My wife and I knew in coming to Knoxville that it was going to be a special place to live for our two kids, 13 and 11, Hannah and Jace. And through the month of June, obviously recruiting was a busy time, but here in July, we've gotten a chance to really partake and enjoy Tennessee lifestyle and Tennessee living. It's been great to connect with the community.
Cody Branch with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Cody. We appreciate it. Says, I can't stay, but hope y'all have a good stream. Well, thank you, Cody, for at least dropping in, and thank you for the super chat. We greatly appreciate it. Cody's showing you guys how it's done. If you want to interrupt us, you want to cut us off, you want us to pause it, you throw $2 at us. We hit pause real quick. But thank you, Cody, for the super chat. We'll continue to roll on.
Whether that's in Knoxville, floating the river, or jumping on the boat in the lake and hitting some of the trails, or going up to the Smoky Mountains and floating down the river with our kids. It's been a lot of fun. And shoot, my daughter has picked up the game of golf and has been knocking the cover off it. And those of you that know me know that I'm not much of a golfer, but she's been able to swindle me out there and get me on the course a little bit. Appreciate this opportunity. It's been great. It's great to be back in the SEC. As a player, as a coach, I've always admired this league. This league believed in what it is, the strength of it from top to bottom, the number of talented players that you're able to recruit to this brand and compete at the highest level. And it's been a lot of fun being back in here. I'm honored to be the head coach of Tennessee football. This is one of the great and iconic logos in all of college football, steep in tradition. It's a great honor to be the caretaker of Tennessee football at this time, and really proud of what our players and our staff have done in 6 months, and just couldn't be prouder and really excited about getting back onto to the football field. And as we talk today a little bit, just had a lot of fun getting to know the former players at Tennessee, connect with the community, and this great iconic logo, be able to put a new age approach on it while celebrating all the great traditions that are Tennessee football. The first priority when I and our staff got to Tennessee was about relationships, and it still is today. That'll be the foundation of everything that we do inside of our program. But that came through a conversation with our players. The first night I got hired, I had about an hour and a half meeting with them. And one of the things that I realized that they recognized that they wanted and needed was connection. And that's why we spent an inordinate amount of time as a staff connecting with our players and getting to know them, their strengths, their struggles, their greatest triumphs, the hardships that they've faced, and have had a lot of fun in doing that. In recruiting.
Play devil's advocate here, or not. You just be honest, because a lot of people, you talk about coach speak and saying the right things, and how many coaches do we hear talk about family atmosphere and relationships and the whole nine? Does it feel different with him, or am I just buying in because I buy into every new coach?
I think there's some coach speak in it. I think there's some valid points. I think there's some sincerity, but he's trying to build a brand. He's trying to, kind of to go back, I mentioned with the wrestling with the crowd. I think there's gimmick in these every coach has gimmicks in it. They're trying to sell something, whether it's family.
Especially in that opening statement. That's pre-written out. You're ready to go. Now,
I commend what I think's cool. While he's kind of nonchalantly doing it, he's mentioning all the things around Knoxville you can do. You can float the river. You can hit the trails. You got the mountains. He's selling right there. He's trying to sell. I don't know that I've heard coaches sell that atmosphere before, but we're seeing coaches on this current staff sell Knoxville. They're selling, and let's face it, around that area, it's awesome with the mountains, with the river, with everything. He's doing that.
It's awesome with what?
Just look around. You got the mountains. You got the most beautiful city in the whole entire country. The university is absolutely, looks like it's out of a storybook. It's just beautiful. People are incredibly genuine and extremely nice. It's just a place that obviously I'd want my kids to go to school. And it sells itself. You don't have to sell anything about this place. You just got to get them here. The old field of dreams. Yeah. Build it and they will come. It's already built.
Yeah, absolutely. And something have you noticed that, and I think maybe not so much yet, but how much he's selling this NIL as well? He sold it on with Tessitore and McElroy. He sold it in this conference. It's a new age, guys. It is a new age. And, they're selling it. Tennessee you come to Tennessee, you can make money legally now.
I guess going back to what Elijah Allen here says, he seems really sincere, though. And what I like is, he's how many times have we talked about it, but that first time he sat down, he's like, these are just words, but I'm going to follow it up with actions. And when I talk about relationships, I think he has proven that. I think he has shown that, in his first however many 6 months now that he's been the head coach at Tennessee. I think he's showing that. Well,
here's where he differs from the previous people. Obviously, going back to our series, The Fall of the Vols, Philip Fulmer played at Tennessee. He understood Tennessee. Kiffin, Dooley, Jones, Pruitt, they didn't play at high levels. I think Kiffin played at Fresno State, but Josh Heupel played at Oklahoma. He won a national title in 2000. Right there. Tennessee was still a hot, big commodity at that time. He understands it. He knows it. And while people may not know that right now, people are like, what's Tennessee? I haven't seen them do anything. Heupel was playing and winning a national title when Tennessee was still at the height of its program. He understands it. I think that is very authentic, what he says and knows right there. I think that's a big difference from these other guys. I don't think they understand. Maybe they understood it and knew it, but they didn't play, maybe weren't recruited by Tennessee or couldn't have played at Tennessee during that time. He probably could have. I think that's a big difference there, as he was competing against the Tennessee, even though they didn't play, but still yet, while Oklahoma's winning a national title, Tennessee's still one of those top teams as well. He knows that.
Yeah. Let me hit this super chat from Robert, 45 Tennessee, says, okay, money bag boosters. If Bama can pay a player who has not started a game 7 figures, we have 4 that have started at least one game. Somebody break out the money. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I don't know how much you watched today, but Lane Kiffin, that was one of the questions they asked him about the Alabama quarterback making $1 million. And, he's just laughing. He's like, so what are you telling me that he can just sit out when he plays us? That'd probably be a good idea. Wouldn't want him to get hurt. He's got all that money on the line. But yeah, and look at Miami. I don't even know how what they're doing is legal. How can you pay, what is it, $5,000 that American Top Team is playing every player?
Dan Lambert.
Like, how is that even possible? Like, how is that legal? But I guess it's the world we live in. I guess this is the new college football. But let's jump back in and see what Coach Heupel has to say.
Over the last 6 months, our staff has put a ton of time and energy into developing those same relationships with recruits. And we've started inside out in our footprint here in Tennessee and then gone across the country. It's one of the great things about the logo is the ability to recruit from coast to coast. And our staff's done a great job of developing those same relationships with parents and families and really got an opportunity to connect with them in June as they were able to get on campus for the first time. And the third group of people that we've really tried to connect with is our VFLs, our Vol for Life. And you look at some of the great players in college football, they've worn the power T, and the ability to welcome them back, embrace them, and for them to give back to our current players and know that this is their home forever has been something that's been fun to start building again. And you're talking about some of the great players that have ever played the game, and Reggie White, Peyton Manning, T. Martin, Alvin Kamara, Charles Davis. Some of those are just a handful of guys that are celebrated at Tennessee, and for those that are still living have been able to come back and be a part of our program. That ties into the type of program that we want to have and we will have at Tennessee. We want to be innovative, but we want to have fun. And I believe in the player experience. Having played the game at the highest level and been able to hoist a trophy as a player, chasing that championship is something that you'll never forget. That's a journey that you'll never forget. But those relationships are really important as well, and we want to live those things out every single day. That's why we've spent so much time building that inside of our program, inside of our walls. From the time that I've gotten there, if you followed us at all, you've seen us, whether it's dodgeball after a 6:30 morning workout on a Friday afternoon, whether it's a crawfish boil followed by kickball after a summer workout on a Tuesday evening. You've seen us spend time with our players, and that pays forward once we get on the football field. I believe that connection matters when you face adversity, that you know the person that's standing to the next to you, left or the right, and you can depend upon those people. And that also,
he talked about the mountains and the rivers. He won me on crawfish bowl. I'm in.
Wow.
I'm in. He sold me.
Well, and he mentioned something I've seen the players last year. It's like when they didn't have to beat the complex, they were out.
Yeah,
they were gone. And I've seen stuff now about how they're genuinely liking being around. They're hanging out, they're team building, things of that nature. It seems like, they genuinely like playing for these coaches, and they're loving what's going on. That's a big deal right there. Because if you don't like your coach, you're not going to play hard for them. And I think there's a genuine like from the players. There's Bayless Jones, Alante Taylor. Bayless Jones has been heavily alluding to that, how much they really like and are excited to play for Heupel. I think that's a big deal right here, because you went from it's pretty obvious, and I'd love to be in a fly on the wall last 3 years, a pretty toxic atmosphere to now. I mean, we've seen the dodgeball games. You hear about the crawfish boil and the kickball. Yeah, it may, from an outsider, it may seem kind of goofy, but that's what you have to do. And he says it a lot. It's about building relationships. As a teacher, I know I know what that is. And teacher and a coach, I know what that is. And it's big. And if you get your players to buy in, that doesn't mean you go easy on them or anything like that, but it means that, they know why you're hard on them when you have to go that route and stuff. And I think that's a big deal right there.
Yeah, and it goes back to what I said earlier when I asked you if you thought it was just coach speak when he talks about that stuff, because I do think it's genuine, and I think the proof is in the pudding when you look at the players. When you look at, going back through the spring when the players were available to the media and they were all sitting down and the smiles on their faces, man, we have not seen that for the last 3 years in the Jeremy Pruitt era. And I know, you're a teacher and, kids learn different ways. And it's the same thing when you're coaching. Some players need to be coached in different ways. And, they said he ran it like a boot camp, like a military camp. And that doesn't necessarily work with every kid. But these kids seem to be having fun. They seem to be bought in. And like you said earlier, they want to be around each other. And I like how he transitions into how that impacts the field of play, because like you touched on, somebody on the outside looking in, they may, they kind of mocked him. They kind of made fun of him. And as the people in our chat said earlier, Heupel doesn't care. He is comfortable with who he is. He doesn't care what you say or what you believe. He knows what he's doing. He believes in what he's doing. He's building relationships. And then when the bullets are flying, your back's against the wall, and this team is going to face adversity. I said that in the video I made this morning. They will. There is no doubt this team will go through adversity this season. I think they're going to have a better chance. I'm not saying they're going to be perfect, but I think they're going to have a better chance standing together as a unit because of what they've gone through in the spring and also through the summer.
Well, one thing, a key point you mentioned there, and I saw somebody in the chat mention earlier too, Heupel and Danny White, even for that matter, they're not worried what the fan base thinks. And you cannot do that in their position right there. I think that was a downfall of Butch Jones. He was worried what the fan base thought. And you saw it numerous times there. I think there's other coaches, they've been worried about the fan base. You can't do that. You've got to coach your way. You got to do what you believe in and not worry about it. He is thick in his skin. He's not worried about the fans or anything. That's what you have to do. And I think that is one component that will help him be successful here is he's not going to worry about that outside noise. Yeah, absolutely. You want the support, but you can't run your program based on what the fan base wants you to do. You just can't. And I think that's a good attribute to have.
I think it goes back to what you touched on earlier, that he's been there, done that. He's hoisted that trophy over his head. He's won a national championship. And I like how he constantly brings up where Oklahoma was at when he came in. He's like, look, I've been here, done this as a player. I know what it takes.
5 years without a bowl. Yep.
Yeah, that is a huge selling point. Huge selling point, I think, for him as a coach. Dustin Sellers with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Dustin. That ain't cheap.
Thank you.
Says, how are you guys feeling about the potential sanctions? To me, our bowl game is less important than beating the Alabama, Florida, Georgia. I love bowl games, but is that as important as being relative in the East? Well, the two kind of go hand in hand. I mean, if you're relative in the East, you're going to go bowling. But I think my expectation before all this NIL stuff, and I don't know how that impacts it. I don't know if it does or not. I expected Tennessee to be a one-year bowl ban and some loss of scholarships, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see in the next couple of months they self-impose that. But I'm expecting 1 year.
I don't think it's a big deal, honestly, unless you get some kind of major sanction. I mean, everybody who was involved with that is gone now, including the athletic director, all the coaches. I agree with the point right there. You know, you lose a year of bowl eligibility, so be it. I mean, it's nice to go to the bowl. Obviously, a point in time we took going to a bowl for granted. Now, when we go to a bowl, it's exciting. But, you know, if we lose 1 year of it, so be it, so we can get going again. I totally agree with the point right there.
The problem is the other schools, when you talk about how it impacts recruiting, the negative recruiting is other schools are going to say, hey, Tennessee could be facing 2-3 year bowl ban. You know, you got to get something done. The longer it drags out, the worse it is. But I think at the end of the day, it's not going to be that bad.
I don't think so.
Let's roll on.
Also plays into how we've embraced the NIL, name, image, and likeness. You look at, I just look back on my career as a player and the opportunities that would have been afforded to me while I was playing, not just when I got done. I think there's a unique opportunity for players to embrace that, for programs to embrace it, to educate our players, for them to take advantage of it, and for them to grow. I think Grant Firking, one of our wide receivers who currently runs a business while he's a student athlete as well, said it best when he said, this is an opportunity for our players to grow and have awareness of their brand and who they are and what they're trying to accomplish long-term in life. And they get an opportunity to do it from the moment that they step foot on campus. And there's not a better place in America to do that than Knoxville, Tennessee. Top 5 in every social media platform. You look at followership. You look at the city of Knoxville itself within this league, one of the most prominent cities. You're looking at national and worldwide headquarters that are located in Tennessee or in Knoxville. It's a special place to come play college football, and everything and anything that you want to do in the game and outside of the game has been done at Tennessee and will be done again. And finally, before I open it up to questions, I'm going to talk about the way that we want to play. And I think a lot of people get caught up in the offensive style of football, and certainly we want to play fast with tempo, but as an entire football program, we want to play fast and be physical. But when I say the word fast, I'm talking about in the way that we play, not just from play to play, but how we play the play. And to do that, you got to be able to put your kids in a position to understand what they're doing, to unlock their natural opportunities of who they are, their physical capabilities, and let them go play. You look at the last 3 national championships offensively, I think every team has averaged over 520 yards on offense. You look at what we've been able to do in our track record as a staff at the previous 2 stops at UCF and at Missouri, top 5 in basically every offensive core category the last 3 years. The 2 years previous to that, while we were at Missouri, led the league in total offense. This is a quarterback-friendly offense that's going to allow us to play and apply pressure to defenses every single Saturday that we step on the football field. And obviously, we understand that in this league, the line of scrimmage is extremely important too, but I think the tempo on the offensive side of the ball gives us the ability to create an advantage in that aspect. We got to continue to recruit and develop big, large people up front that will change the line of scrimmage as we continue to play. And we got a great amount of guys that are coming back on both sides of the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively, from last year's football team that have an opportunity to be a strength for us. Defensively, we've hired an experienced staff. Coach Banks, you look at his track record everywhere that he's been, the ability to create negative plays over his track record at Penn State. We're going to play physical. We're going to play fast. We're going to be aggressive defensively. And he's done a great job of incorporating a multiple scheme. Our kids have grabbed onto it, latched onto it, understand it. And I think that's going to allow them to play fast and free when we get to Saturday afternoons. I know that I'll get asked this question in a little bit, but, you know, we were hit by the transfer portal certainly before I got to campus.
Well, I thought you were still gone. I was going to pause it and wait till you come back to go through the transfer portal stuff. But I liked it again. It's one big sales pitch. You know, you talked about it earlier, the mountains, the things you can do. Then he proceeds to talk about the NIL and the business opportunities and the things that are around Knoxville. Then he goes and he rattles off the stats at UCF and he rattles off the stats at Missouri. And, you know, they were even talking about it on the SEC network, putting over how strong his offense is. And I've said it a million times on the channel. People want to talk about, you know, his numbers at Missouri. Look at Missouri before he got there, while he was there, and after he left. His offense is proven, and he is selling that to every recruit that is listening to SEC Media Days. It is one big, huge sales pitch.
Yeah, and that's your platform to do it right there. And, you know, I think he may have given some ideas when he was on post-match. They said, well, what would you have done when you were a player if you had NIL? And he mentioned, what was it?
Car dealership.
And yeah, I can't remember what the other one.
It was a
bank.
bank.
There you go. So, you know, he's thought about it. He sold it. They even asked him on there, what's your recruiting pitch? If you're sitting in a living room, what is your pitch? And he gave it right there. It's a pretty convincing pitch. But, you know, the unfortunate thing with all that, you can pitch all you want with it. And I still say the bottom line is you got to be exciting, which I think they will. You got to start winning ball games. And I think this is what I like is this is a guy who has came in, and I feel confident he's coming in to win ball games. Other guys we've had, I felt they kind of come in thinking they had a cushion. They could kind of, you know, struggle or what have you. And because I know the first thing when they asked him again about, you know, what would be success in year one, and he said, you know, and he asked McElroy, he's like, I don't know, when I take the field, I'm going out to win.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, that's big. I don't feel that's always been the case down there. And I don't understand that. I don't understand why you would go into that. But we've seen numerous coaches go in and just play not to lose. I think one thing with Heupel that may hurt at times, he may be too aggressive, and I understand that. And it may cost him some being too aggressive, but I'd rather a coach be too aggressive than just not aggressive at all.
Play not to lose all the time.
And we've seen that. How many years? We've seen it for
multiple
three
coaches.
years.
Yeah, multiple coaches, not just Pruitt, multiple coaches.
Yeah.
We're going to continue. We're going through Josh Heupel's press conference at SEC Media Days. He took the podium this morning. I think it was around 11:30 a.m. But we got 150 people watching live right now. We've got 50 thumbs up. Take 2 seconds, guys. Go just below the video. There's a little thumbs up down there. Click that button. It helps us. It helps the channel. Helps us to continue to grow. I want to say thank you to every single subscriber of this channel. And I even mean Cal1, who has done nothing but been negative in the chat. And I mean it to Alan V. Troll Patrol. I truly appreciate every single subscriber. We just hit 7,000 over the weekend. We are onwards and upwards. We're racing to 10,000. And then guess what? That's not going to be good enough. We're going to chase down 15,000, 20,000. We are not media. We are fans just like you guys. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes this channel different. Your opinion matters just as much as ours, but we're taking over. We are taking over YouTube. YouTube is ours. It is going to be our platform. We are going to dominate all of Tennessee media as Tennessee fans. Tennessee fans, we matter more than the media. So we will do this together. This will always be your channel. I'm glad to see Papa T, also known as Vol Nation, over at the Swain event. He says, I believe overall Coach Heupel spoke very well in his first SEC Media Day, promoted his offensive brand to recruits and NIL in Knox Vegas. Now we got to go play some football and win. That's right. Papa T might as well be hosting the show. That's exactly what we said. Great job by Heupel selling this program, but now he has to prove it on the field of play. Let's go win some ball games, and then things will start to fix themselves. Let's hear more as he starts to talk about the transfer portal.
But that's been a double-edged sword, and I say that meaning that we were able to add 8 guys after spring ball through the transfer portal as well. And I think as we've gone through this summer and we get into training camp, those guys are going to have an opportunity to help us out as we get on the football field this fall. I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you. Excited about getting to training camp here in a week or so with our players. Excited to run out of the tunnel on September 2nd and make that right-hand turn behind Smokey and ready to play in front of 103,000 in Neyland Stadium. So with that, I'll open it up to questions for you guys.
Thank you, Coach. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Abby, Christian, and Catherine will come. We ask that you give your name and affiliation, and please stand as you can so we can see you from the podium here. So we're going to start over here on our left-hand side alongside the wall.
We'll get this first question, but first we got to hit a super chat when you guys say, why do you guys let this guy stick around? Alan B. Troll Patrol with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Alan. You're like family. You're like family. We just let you, sometimes you toe the line, you walk right up to it, but we just let you have a good time. We're glad you're here. He says, you are welcome, Boogie and Indy Kid. Thank you, Alan. You are the reason for our success.
So Indy Kid has an IE. It's not a Y. I'm not from Indianapolis.
They all, I think
still,
98% of people think it's something to do with Indianapolis. Pretty sure.
No, it has to do with indie music, indie wrestling, just being an indie person in general.
Well, Jackie Turner's watching from Indiana, so that's only fitting. Wow. That's only fitting. Wow. Cal One's even shocked because we thanked him, but Alabama fans don't give super chats like Georgia fans. So thank you, Alan, for the super chat, and thank you, Cal One, just for being here. And Robert Craig says nothing wrong with Indianapolis. I'm just saying.
Nope, not saying that. Just
hey, Robert, I'm looking forward. When are we going to go see Peyton Manning play up there in Indianapolis? That's a little inside joke that 155 people don't understand. All right, let's.
Hey, man, Adams, South Carolina's in the house here too, bud.
Let's hear more from Josh Heupel.
Hey, Josh, Vince Ferrara, 99.1, the Sports Animal in Knoxville. You brought up the transfer portal. So first opportunity to talk to you since some of those guys have come on campus. Can you hit on some of those guys, what you're getting on those players that are coming in?
Absolutely. RSID and I had a bet what was going to be the first question. I tried to hedge off the transfer portal before it got started, but I'm glad you came right back to it. Now, it is. Obviously, our roster changed, right? By the time that I got there in late January, there were a large number of kids that were in the transfer portal. At the same time, we've been able to add really quality individuals inside of our program. We love the player. right? But we love the person too and what they're bringing as far as a culture piece inside of our program. Some of those kids we've had relationships with, whether it was a coach being at a previous school and having known them, who they are every day, or it was myself or other staff members that had recruited them coming out of high school. So feel really good about what we've added. A majority of those guys, we really feel like are going to play meaningful snaps right from the get-go when we kick off in September. A handful or a couple of those guys, I should say, are guys that are going to have to earn it like they all will, but guys that are going to develop in our program. I think for us long-term, one of the benefits of the 8 pieces that we've added here after spring ball is that a majority of those guys have multiple years, and we'll be able to help our roster as we move forward as well.
So we'll go over to the right side on the near aisle.
Ryan Lavoie, Sports Call Auburn.
Talking about the transfer portal there, if you were going to pick one player, who do you think makes the biggest impact coming through the transfer portal? Well, I think you're going to say Juwan Mitchell. Give me a couple.
Okay. Yeah, Juwan Mitchell would be one. Good question, because I know there was a stat mentioned that they added 2 per unit on the defense. You added a couple on the defensive line. You added a couple linebackers. You added some secondary. I really love what they added in the secondary. I love Turnage and Haddon. I thought those were awesome additions right there. Now, I don't know if they're going to put them in over Alontae Taylor and even Burrell, but I think those were big-time additions. Papa T may hit on it right here. You made a video on it today talking about how Joe Milton's gained the trust. Is Joe Milton this guy? And I don't think a lot, you made a video earlier in like Pro Football Focus, Hendon Hooker. Even so, they were talking about it on the set today.
A lot of people on set today were talking about Hooker or Milton, maybe. I think Juwan Mitchell is a sneaky, underrated, huge pickup for these guys. I don't think that one. I think that's the one unit that needed a big-time player, and they got it right there. But, yeah, Milton and Hooker, it's in her. I think people have really discounted Hooker in this, and I thought McElroy made some good – he made some good comments about how Hooker is a, I don't know, he's a mobile quarterback, and sometimes you need that right there. That may be vital in this offense, but – the obvious is Juwan Mitchell. I think Joe Milton. I'm still with you on this. The whole thing. They didn't bring Joe Milton in to hold a clipboard. Yeah, we'll go down that path here in just a minute when he talks about quarterbacks. But as many names as you just mentioned there, and then 2 names, especially one that you didn't mention that I think will make an impact, and I think DeJoun Terry is going to make an impact for this football team. I think Caleb Tremblay is more of maybe a little bit of depth with an opportunity to contribute. But I could see DeJoun Terry by the end of the year making an impact on this defense. But also a name you mentioned is Turnage. I think Turnage will start. I think he is going to start at corner opposite of Alontae Taylor.
You think he beats Burrell out?
I really do. I really, truly do. I
honestly don't think we should sleep on Haddon. He's got the measurables. I like what he's bringing. I think those 2 additions were excellent with Turnage and Haddon. I think those were big time. You look at their size, their speed, those are ideal big time cornerbacks they brought in right there. I'm excited about those 2 guys and what they can do. Somebody mentioned as well, Javonte Payton.
Yeah.
Another burner. Right there. If you put Valus Jones, you put Jalen Hyatt and Peyton in there, this is going to be a really good wide receiving core.
I think it just goes back to, the transfer portal, whether you like it, hate it, it doesn't matter. It's here. This is the new college football. And I think Josh Heupel played it perfectly. He played it perfectly in this offseason because like he said right there, when they first brought it up, guys were already in the portal on the way out the door before he ever showed up. There was nothing he could do about that. But I think he played the cards that were dealt. He went into the portal. He added 2 guys at every level, like you said, on defense, which was huge. And then, Javonte Payton was kind of like, really a wide receiver? But then you look at him and it's like, hey, why not? Why not add him? Like you said, another burner. And that's what we are going to continue to see on this offense is speed. A lot of speed. I even saw that. I don't know what's true, what's not true, what's going on with the Isaiah Horton commit or recruitment. It doesn't sound like he's a Tennessee guy anymore, but it sounds like Tennessee really didn't pursue him as hard as we thought. And I don't know what the truth is there, but I don't know if it has something to do with speed. I need to look further into that because I'm going by people talking on VolQuest message boards.
Well, yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, he's a pretty heavy Miami lean at this point. I don't know if it's going to be that or not, but
I saw some people saying that Tennessee didn't really make him as high as a priority. And I don't know if that's because of speed or what the deal is there, but I'll dig into that.
The truth's probably somewhere in between.
Sure.
On it, where and I think they had some ground to make up as well, right? And I think that's with recruiting. Has the staff made some mistakes on this? Yeah, no doubt. Every staff is going to make mistakes, but they had a pretty long way to go to make up for. I mean, they came in behind the 8 ball. Other teams are already basically a year ahead of them in recruiting this class, and they couldn't get on-campus visits. And that's a big deal, I think. And you come into it with the pending allegations, the pending violations, where the program won 3 freaking games last year. This is a lot to overcome right there. And I think they're doing a fine job based on their circumstance. So, I mean, we got to give them some time. Again, I say it again. If this staff comes out and wins games this year, the projection today, according to ESPN, was 6.6 wins, which is, you round that up, that's 7 wins, right? That's a pretty good first year right there based on where this program's been, especially based on last year. And I'm going to address this one. I don't know what's BS about the toxic atmosphere. If coaches were leaving left and right,
coaches getting fired in the middle of the 4th game,
coaches get fired in the middle of the 4th game, veteran coaches who are highly respected, left after the 2nd year after an 8-win season. Yeah. You don't know what you're talking about, dude. It's just if you don't think it was a toxic atmosphere down there, then Jeremy Pruitt would have been back as the head coach this year.
Well, and I think it was
extremely toxic.
I think all you got to look at is the players. Look at the players. Listen to the players. Like I said, go back to spring. All their appearances with the media, they all talked about it. You can see a difference in this football team.
Well, I mean, there's a different vibe, again, like you said, listen to Velus Jones right there. And this dude is like giddy. It's like he's frothing at the mouth to play in this offense this year. And, if I was an offensive player last year, that was probably about as bad as getting all my teeth pulled as playing in that offense. That was bad. And, yeah, it was – Jeremy Pruitt was toxic down there. And I'm not hellfire. Johnny Majors was there in the 90s. Jeremy Pruitt was there in 2021. It's a big difference, dude. All right? It's totally different eras right there. In Johnny Majors' era, those players responded differently than they do now. Danny White went in and asked these players what they wanted, and they said they want a coach who will hold us accountable right there. Tell me what that tells you right there. This coaching staff like to run boot camps and bark and all, but there wasn't the accountability there. Sure as crap wasn't the accountability there from the coaching staff standpoint. So, we can say toxic, is BS all we want to. I think it's pretty evident. If it wasn't toxic, they would have not have dug and found a way to get rid of Jeremy
I was like,
Pruitt.
what is that behind you? I see the cat. Yeah. Look, you're exactly right. They dug and found a way to get rid of him. That's it. That's the end of story. That's all. It's over. It's done. Who cares? Let's move on. Let's hear more from Coach Heupel.
And Coach, obviously this program about 20 years ago was used to competing for championships, and it's gone through a lot of coaches the last 10 or 15 years trying to get it back to that. How big do you think the chasm is from where the program is now to where it was then, and what is your vision for getting it back to that?
If you go by wins and losses, right, we're not where we need to be for sure. But the only time constraints you put on that are ones you put on yourself. I have a different perspective a little bit maybe of the opportunity that is Tennessee football. And I say that from my playing experience. I went to Oklahoma when they hadn't been to a bowl game for, I think, 5 straight years, right? When you get the right alignment from president to chancellor to athletic director to head coach, and you hire a great staff, and you're consistent and you're accountable, I feel like you have an opportunity to move things forward quickly. And there's certainly challenges that we face as
I said it before. I'm going to say it again. If I worked at the SEC, I would fire that idiot holding the microphone and breathing in the microphone and rattling it around. It's driving me absolutely up the wall. I'm sorry.
Well, something there as well.
Something that's important.
Something is that, and this goes back to our Fall of the Vols series right here. He mentions president, chancellor, AD, coach being on the same page. You're going to see in our Fall of the Vols series, not to promote what we're doing, but we're promoting what we're doing. That was not always – that is a big deal right now because Boyd hired the chancellor who hired the AD, who hired the coach. That is a big deal, and I think it's very underestimated in the grand scheme of things right here.
But there's great opportunities, and that's why I came to Tennessee. This is Tennessee. This is one of the iconic programs in all of college sports and all of college football. We get an opportunity to celebrate the great traditions while I put a new age approach on it. And our kids and our staff, they're all there because of that, right? They chose the Power T for those reasons. Our staff chose the Power T for those reasons. We're going to go out and compete every single day and push forward.
We'll go in the center section, about 6 rows back, right in front of the podium.
Hello, Coach Gerard Hamilton, Tuscaloosa News. The third game in October, versus Alabama. It's been a long time since Tennessee has been able to defeat them. So, for one, what have you been told in the community about how important that game is, and what will you be doing to?
This is an idiot from Alabama, some beat writer down there, trying to get a clip for that Alabama team. It's so stupid. What a done. The third game in October. He doesn't even know what it's called. What an absolute idiot.
Try to rectify that and get a win versus them.
Yeah, certainly. That ball game's huge to the fan base and to our players, right? On both sides of it. You come to Tennessee to play in games like that. This fan base loves football. They breathe it 365 days out of the year, man. If it's recruiting, they care about recruiting. If it's spring ball, they care about what's going on the field. That's the challenge for us moving forward. But it's not about just one game this fall as we move forward, right? Our players understand that we're only as good as our next performance, right? And for us as a coaching staff and players, we have to take a one-day approach at it. And that means we can control today. We can't control 3 months from now. We can control today. If we take care of today and follow that up consistently, we're going to put ourselves in the best position to get where we want to go long term.
Coach, we're going to go over to our left-hand side alongside the wall. Mike.
Coach Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel, how you doing?
Great to see you.
Anything you miss about Orlando, and also how much different is it recruiting in the SEC maybe than it was at UCF?
I miss seeing you, Mike. All right. That's what I miss. Now, my wife, our family, I'll speak for our staff too, the guys that came with from the previous stop. It's a special place. It's got a great future ahead of it. this was a special opportunity, unique set of circumstances that felt like it was the right opportunity. But Orlando's a great place, man. If we miss one thing, it would be the beach that's 45 minutes away.
Which will go in the center section along on the right-hand side. White hat.
Coach Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. You played the quarterback position at a high level. You were an impact transfer for Bob Stoops at Oklahoma. So I know you evaluate the position thoroughly. Talk about adding Joe Milton, and what did you see out of your quarterbacks this spring, such as a Harrison Bailey, that made you still want to add to that QB room in your first season?
Competition's the greatest friend that any coach has, right? You have to have it in that room. It's going to drive the players inside of it when you're not around it. And to me, Joe's got a unique skill set, strong arm, accurate passer. I think he's a very bright young man that's picked up on what we've done so far really well. He's talented. He can spray the football field from sideline to sideline and vertically, and has a unique skill set with his size and mobility to use his feet as a weapon as well.
Which we're going to go right down in front of me, about 6 rows.
All right. So here we go. This is the main event of the evening. Everybody get ready. I hope those Harrison Bailey lovers are in the chat. It's time to talk about quarterbacks because you heard what he just said. He just sold Joe Milton. He just put over Joe Milton. Before he went on air or before he stepped up to the podium, he was on SEC in the morning. He talked about Joe Milton. He talked about bringing him in, and he talked about Joe Milton earning the trust of the locker room. And I saw people in the comment section of the video I dropped this morning say, locker rooms don't win football games, Boogie. No, but they will damn sure lose them for you. Joe Milton was brought to Tennessee for a reason. Like Papa T says right here in the chat, those comments on Joe Milton lead me to believe, as I have been trying to tell you guys for weeks, that Joe Milton is in the lead. Now, does that mean he's the guaranteed starter? No, I think it is going to be an open, true competition. But Joe Milton was brought to Tennessee to be the guy. Indy Kid, go ahead.
Yep, we've said it. We said it since the end of spring practice when he enrolled. He didn't come in to hold a clipboard. There's no way. You don't add Joe Milton if you're not liking what you're saying. At that time, you had 3 quarterbacks playing through spring practice. You still had Salter, who was still with the program. He was suspended, but
regardless,
I don't know.
4 scholarship quarterbacks.
A part of me wonders if it doesn't come down between Milton and Hooker. I think this Bailey, and listen, I love Harrison Bailey. I think he's got a lot of potential, especially if he learns how to get rid of the ball. But I think, Harrison Bailey obviously knocked it out of the park in the orange and white game. And that's what it is. That's why everybody's saying, well, he may be in the mix. It honestly sounded going up to that orange and white game that Harrison Bailey had not had a good spring practice. A good spring camp. I'm with you. I'm totally with you on this. Joe Milton was brought in for a reason. Joe Milton's huge for a quarterback. He's got mobility. He's got a big arm. I've seen that he's fairly accurate. Now you can go off his numbers all you want last year. They weren't great, but you got to
also look at what Josh Heupel is going to try to do. And Josh Heupel, he talks about it. I can't remember if he's already said it or if it's a little bit later. No, I think it was earlier. He talked about playing fast. He wants guys to go out, play loose and fast, not have to overthink. And Joe Milton's biggest problem is decision-making. So if you allow Joe Milton to go out and play loose and fast and make easy decisions, then it's going to benefit him. And I wonder if Josh Heupel sees that, and that's why he went after Milton to begin with.
Well, I mean, I think it's a case, and they talked about it, with Jordan Rodgers, Michael Roy, and Tessitore today. They talked about, and there's been this notion, well, maybe Tennessee will go in and play a couple quarterbacks. Nope, that's not an option, right? Mm-hmm. These guys said it today. You've got to settle on one guy. Now, if that dude continues to make mistake, you can replace him. That's fine right there. You can't go in splitting reps. You can't go in with a 2 to 3 quarterback system. You've got to settle on a guy and go with him until he makes you think otherwise.
Yeah, and it sounded like the way Heupel talked that they're going to make a decision. And, he talked about splitting reps on the SEC in the morning, talked about how you determine who gets X number of reps. And I like how he talks about earning it. It's not that Harrison Bailey did something to lose that opportunity, but it's more about Joe Milton or Hendon Hooker or whoever is the guy earning that spot. And, he said as things play out, these guys are going to get more reps. These guys will get less reps. And then he wants it down to a starting quarterback going into that first game. I think you're right. I don't think we're going to see a multiple quarterback system.
No, and one thing, mentioned with Michigan, what quarterback has succeeded up there? And it's really surprising to me because I think Harbaugh, you look what he did at Stanford. He turned that program around up there. He had success in NFL. Colin Kaepernick was an all-pro quarterback when Harbaugh was up there. And when he left, Kaepernick fell off. We're not getting into political, so we're going to stop right there with that. We're talking about play on the field, but I really thought when Harbaugh went to Michigan that Michigan would overtake Ohio State. It's not happened, and their offenses have just been – no quarterback up there has succeeded, which is surprising. So, while Milton, I think he had his moments, you got to think he's still got, 3 years left to play down here? Who knows? I'm pretty excited about Milton. And, I think people are underestimating Hooker, myself included. I think I started to think it was a Milton Bailey just based on the orange and white game. But, Hooker he does bring that dimension and of mobility. Plus, like you said, that quick offense takes the thinking out of it. So I think quarterback play is going to be tremendously improved this year, regardless of who it is.
I think I'm guilty of doing what the Bailey supporters, and I hate to say that because, and I don't know what the people in the chat think or believe, but if Harrison Bailey wins the job, then let's rock and roll. I'll be behind Harrison Bailey. Like you said, I love the kid. I want all these guys to succeed. But I think I'm guilty of the Harrison Bailey supporters because they saw one performance in the orange and white game, whereas all spring long, everything I read that Hendon Hooker was leading the charge. He was leading the way. But I just wasn't impressed with his performance in the orange and white game, and it kind of turned me off. But where I flipped the switch, and I think Aaron Brown here in the chat, he says, how can he be the front runner if he's never had a practice? Well, that's the point. That's the point. He's never had a practice, but you had 4 scholarship quarterbacks, and Josh Heupel felt the need to go to the transfer portal and add a 5th one. You don't do that if you have confidence in Harrison Bailey or you have the confidence in Hendon Hooker. And you guys can disagree with me all you want, but it's the truth. You don't go – if Harrison Bailey was out here looking like Peyton Manning, Joe Milton would not be coming to Tennessee. It is what it is. Whether you want to believe it or not, that it's the truth. So does that mean Joe Milton's guaranteed to be the starter? No, it doesn't. What I'm saying is nobody in that quarterback room wowed Josh Heupel. He talks about earning it. Nobody in that quarterback room earned it. Nobody stood out. That's why he went and got Joe Milton. So can Joe Milton get it done? That's yet to be seen. But he went and got him for a reason.
Yeah, and he addresses that as well about not going through practice, going through summer and then those reps. So Heupel's going to address – I can't remember if he addresses it on this press conference or if he addressed it with, talking with other people. But he did address that about how it's, those – they can still get those reps in the fall. It's definitely not done right there. I think the one thing that would shock me out of all of it is if Brian Maurer come out as starting quarterback. I just don't see it. I think the guy has potential, but he has – while he has the potential to make the big play, he has the potential to make the killer play. Yep. And I don't mean it in a good way.
The one that costs you a game. Yeah. I love that. He brings an energy, man. He's got an it factor that I absolutely love. But I don't know that the pros outweigh the cons. We're going to jump back in here to Josh Heupel. I want to say thank you. We've got over 200 people watching in July. It is July, and 200 people are watching Talkin' VAWLS live. We're glad that you're here. Somebody got mad and hit the thumbs down when we started praising Joe Milton. You can counteract that. Hit that thumbs up. We would appreciate it. There's 200 of you here. 104 of you haven't hit it. I would appreciate it if you would, and then I'll shut up and stop talking about it. Let's hear Josh Heupel talk as you guys run up that thumb. I love just looking over. Now it's at 98. It's running up because I appreciate you guys. 99. I love you guys. You guys are awesome.
Number one.
Oh, somebody took one away. It went down to 98.
Like you said earlier, we are the number one Tennessee podcast on YouTube. Hands down.
We're not even a podcast. We got to stop saying that.
Show?
Channel.
There you go. Number one. Number one, your program. Number one, your heart.
For the fans, by the fans. All right, let's hear more.
Rose back right here in the center section.
Ryan Shumpert, Rocky Top Insider. You've talked about doing things with a new age approach. Just what does that look like?
It's going to take a lot of different forms. It's the way that we communicate inside of our building. Every interaction that we have with players, with staff, with janitors, it doesn't matter who it is, creating and harnessing energy inside of our building. I think that's a really important thing that we've tried to build with our VFLs too, is harnessing that energy and creating positive momentum that surrounds our program where our kids feel that every single day. It's the way that we interact with them outside of the game. The things that I've talked about and that we've done with our players in the 5.5 months that we've.
I can't let it go. I have to address it. I love Blitz 621, long-time listener, been around forever. And we can disagree, and that's fine. But you bring up a point, and I want to address that point. And he says Milton is inconsistent. Watch the Michigan tapes. He was benched for a reason. Somebody on Facebook called me out on this. He said, "Did you ever see him play at Michigan?" I simply sent back, and then I'm going to go right back to Josh Heupel. Did you ever see Nathan Peterman play at the University of Tennessee?
You've been here. As we move forward, it may be different opportunities as far as what the uniform looks like when you run out on the field. Man, look good, feel good, play good. And
another hot topic. Look good, feel good, play good. What do you think? Alternate uniforms.
Yep, go with them.
For it. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, let's do it.
Terry Reed says, "You guys are a channel." Thanks, Terry. We're trying to figure it out.
We're a freaking revolution.
I think channel is definitely the appropriate word for it. The thing is, we started as a podcast because there was no video. Then we changed to live streams. And then the last 6 months, the channel's completely changed, blown up. And I think we're just a channel. Look good, feel good, play good. Alternate unis are coming. They're coming.
Yeah, I'd love to see. I like smoky gray. I'd like to see the black. We've only seen the black jerseys one time, and I'll never forget that roar. It's like when Cena returned Sunday night. It was a roar, man. It was just, South Carolina, Halloween, 2009. Come out, and they warmed up in orange jerseys, went to the locker room, came back out in black jerseys. What a roar. I'll never forget it watching it. I'm like, that's a strange roar from the crowd. And then you flash to the tunnel, and they got the black jerseys on, and they just blew South Carolina out of the building. That's when Spurrier was there. You can be a traditionalist all you want. That's fine, or what have you. But it's a new age, guys. It really is. And, if the kids like it, you go with it. That's what it's all about. Right there. It is all about those players, those kids who are playing. If they want it, you go with it. And that's if you're coaching. And again, it goes back to relationships. Kids tell you they want black jerseys, and you're like, nope. Tradition. We don't do that.
Kills me when, and I know Facebook's probably the worst possible place when I'm promoting. And people say, nope, no black uniforms. Those kids can go play somewhere else. I'm like, and then you are going to complain about why Tennessee loses because you're so stuck on orange and white. It's like, what's up, IC86? Glad to have you here. Let's hear more.
And we want to create a positive player experience from the moment that they step on campus until they're done, but have a long-term relationship with them that lasts forever.
Which we'll go over here to the left-hand side.
Eric Kane, the Sports Animal. I know a lot of positions are open in camp, specifically the quarterback position, as we already mentioned. How long until you start cutting down those reps and start singling down, 2 guys, 1 guy, 3 guys, whatever the case may be? How long in the camp?
Year one, there's competition at every spot. There's no job that's secure at this. You got to go earn it every single day. And that's the rule in college football, no matter what. You have to earn the right to get a rep, earn the right to prove that you're going to be on that football field and that we can trust you. I think the quarterback position it's really important that every other member of your team, offensively and defensively, see that guy has earned the opportunity to be your quarterback. When there's a bad play, and there will be at some point, they got to know that that's the right guy for them that's leading that football team. And that only comes through time. And so as we move, guys are going to earn more reps, guys will earn less reps. Once they've done that, we're going to move at that rate. And obviously we'll have started before we get to kickoff, and looking forward to that competition.
Coach, we'll go to our right alongside the near aisle.
Hey, Josh. Adam Luck at Kentucky Sports Radio to your right here. You mentioned line of scrimmage in your opening remarks, how it's kind of different in the SEC. Yeah. We hear that a lot. What makes it different in this league, and how difficult, I guess, is it to build that? And then secondly, you've been out of the league a few years. As you kind of dig into the tape, is there anything like schematically that's really changed that's kind of caught your eye?
Having been in the Big 12, this league, and then having been in the AAC, the line of scrimmage is different. And it's the size and the length of the bodies. You know what I mean? Up front, inside, it's their girth. On the edges, it's their ability to have length and speed. I think that is the difference in the league, or the number one thing that jumps out to you. And you can tell that just by the NFL draft, right? The number of bodies that get drafted up front in particular across the board in this league. And I think that speaks to what you're saying is the difference in the league, certainly. Was there a second part of your question, I think? I don't think dramatically there's anything. I think there's ebbs and flows in everything that goes on in college football, from being more 12 personnel to being spread in 10 personnel. If you look at us offensively, that's one of the things that we take great pride in, is being able to be multiple, but change with what we have on campus. And that might mean 4 wide receivers. It might mean 2 tight ends. It's whoever's going to compete and play at a championship level.
Coach, we'll go right in front of me, about 3 rows back. Center section.
Coach Theo DeRosa, Commercial Dispatch, Columbus, Mississippi. You mentioned those 8 transfers after spring ball. One of them is Javonte Payton, a wide receiver from Mississippi State. What kind of player can he be for you guys this fall?
Just watching him, strength and condition, he's fast, he's explosive, he's got natural set of hands. Really feel like he's got an opportunity to compete and earn a spot and be a difference maker for us this fall. He's experienced, and I think that's important too. And just that wide receiver room, we have a little bit of age on the top, but we're really young underneath. And so his experience, having played in this league, I think is important for us, and was an important piece for us to add this spring.
Which we'll go over at our left-hand side in the middle section.
Hey, Josh, Ben McKee with Swain Event and VAWLS.com. Wanted to ask you about the transfers on the defensive side of the ball. I believe you have 2 at each level of the defense. Is there anything special you all will do during fall camp to try to improve on the cohesiveness or get them to gel together, or will you just kind of let fall camp just run its natural course? And then who are some of those defensive transfers that have stood out to you so far?
In particular, we were hit in the transfer portal on the defensive side of the football, and felt like it was important that we added depth and experience on the defensive side of the football coming out of spring ball. And we were able to add a couple of bodies at each level. We kind of pinpointed that going into the process as we got probably midway through spring, and felt like we had a handle on what our depth looked like. I really do feel like all of those guys are going to have an opportunity to compete and play meaningful snaps for us this fall.
We're going to stay in that same section. Edgar?
Yeah, Coach. Edgar Thompson with the Orlando Sentinel, serving as Mike Bianchi's mouthpiece here, because you didn't get to the part about what's the difference recruiting at UCF versus recruiting in the SEC.
Yeah, I think in some ways it's earlier here on the top part of your board. I think that is probably the biggest difference between the two.
Okay, we'll go center section along the right-hand aisle.
Austin Stanley, A to Z Sports Nashville. With the fast-paced offense, how do you balance keeping that up-tempo style without wearing out your defense and keeping that in mind?
I think it's important that you balance it while you're going through practice. We have ebbs and flows in how we communicate and what type of tempo we play with during the course of practice. I think it's important that you manage the game and manage end-of-half situations extremely well, and understand that there's a pressure that you can apply by scoring too quickly or moving the ball too quickly at certain points in the game. And so you're trying to eliminate a possession or two by the way that you play at the end of those halves.
We're going to go to the.
I think that's a good point he brings up there, because, a lot of people talk about this fast-paced offense. They're going to go as hard and fast as they can. I like that he has the knowledge and the common sense of, hey, there are going to be times that you're going to need to slow it down a little bit, because how many times last 3 years, honestly, did we talk about end-of-half scenarios and what an absolute disaster? If you mismanage the end of the first half, it can cost you. I mean, it can be a two-point or two possession swing if you mismanage that.
Yeah, it was mismanaged for 3 years.
Yep.
Before the half. I know you remember before when I was on before my sabbatical and when I came back, that was my big beef, was Jeremy Pruitt's management before halftime. It was a disaster.
Yep.
Every year. Right there. And they got lucky a time or two, but for the most part, he absolutely mismanagement. So, yeah, I'm like, sound like Heupel's watched some tape on the last couple of years.
Taking some jabs at the right times.
Yeah, I mean, they're not.
Longhand.
Yeah, I mean, not so much. Yeah, it is what it is. It was just, it's been a joke the last 3 years going into the half. I mean, just an absolute travesty.
And the left-hand aisle.
Hey, Josh. Dave Matter with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch here in the middle. Do you feel more prepared, more equipped for this job than compared to when you left Missouri for UCF, your first head coaching job? And if so, just how exactly?
I think you grow with every experience that you have as a player, as an assistant coach, as a head coach. This job is different than the job that I took over at UCF, and every job is different, whether it's your recruiting base, your conference, your location, the university. There's so many factors that go into it. I think that I obviously have grown over the course of my 3 years in being able to communicate and build a program from the bottom up.
So we'll go down front here on the left.
Hey, Coach. Madison Blevins here with WBIR TV and Knoxville. You say it's a quarterback-friendly offense. We've definitely seen that in the past, passing for upwards of 300 yards per game. But in the SEC, we also know that the run game is just important. So I just want to know how the running backs fit into your system.
Yeah, I think that's the misnomer about what we do offensively. You look at when we were at Missouri, I think we set a Power 5 record for fewest amount of 0 negative yard plays, and then reset the record the following year. When we took over at Missouri, they were 125th in the country in total offense. We ended up leading the league for 2 straight years in total offense.
How many times have I made that point and people just ignore it? I didn't know the exact numbers. 125th in total offense. Josh Heupel comes in. They immediately go to the top of the conference. He leaves, and they immediately fall right back off. So if you want to question the defense, by all means, question the defense. Tim Banks, I hope he works out, but I think he is a big unproven. He's a big question mark. We'll see how he does when he's the head man and he's calling plays. But to question Josh Heupel in this offense is just insanity to me.
I thought that was a great question because so much focus is on the quarterback, the passing game, and I think the running game gets lost in that right there. Heupel's offenses have ranked consistently in like the top 25 in all of college football and rushing.
Yep.
And I think that's a lost fact along the way. And he addresses it. Yeah, they lost. They were hit pretty hard with Eric Gray and Ty Chandler leaving. He didn't mention names, but you've been pretty bullish on this as well about this running back stable is in good shape. Jabari Small, Evans, and we'll see where I really like that 1-2 punch, and I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. And I think we got a very big upgrade at offensive line coach. Will Friend sucked, for lack of a better term. Ellerby, I think, is a big improvement right there. Friend sucked at Georgia. Georgia fans will tell you that. Not sure why he was so heralded or what have you. But the running game is a big deal in Heupel's offense. And, we'll see how it goes. I like the stable of backs. And again, I think that was a great question right there that a lot of people kind of overlook.
And I like, talking about the 1-2 punch at running back, but I think Jalen Wright, when you look at what Josh Heupel's offense, what they want to do, I think Jalen Wright, with a little bit of development, we heard how great he looked in spring, but he needed to work on a few things, pass protection, typical things you hear about a freshman running back. He has the potential to be outstanding in this offense. And then you go and look at the class of 22 and Dylan Sampson. And yeah, he's a 3-star, but when you look at his tape and you look at what he brings, I think he fits into this offense perfectly. And we'll see how it works. We'll see how it works in the SEC. Yeah, it worked at Missouri. We'll see how this Josh Heupel offense works at Tennessee. But I think he is going and getting guys that fit his offensive scheme perfectly. Whether they're a 4-star or a 3-star, it doesn't matter. They're going to blend right into this offense. And like you said, especially the running back position and the wide receivers. Heck, I like where we stand at wide receiver too. We are a good quarterback. We are a Joe Milton or a Harrison Bailey taking the bull by the horns and leading this offense into a really fun football season this fall.
Yeah, and I put it up. I just had to address it. The lazy common man take. You don't analyze the situation. We've seen it so many times. I know Boogie's gotten red to face at it. This is so lazy. This is such a lazy take right here.
Well, look at his profile picture. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, why are you even commenting? You probably have no clue with that Alabama picture in there. It's such a lazy take. And Heupel, you lose 25% of a class every year, pretty much. And, Scott Frost, he out-recruited Scott Frost at Central Florida. When you go undefeated, unfortunately, you have nowhere to go but down from there. The fall of the VAWLS series is evidence of that, to plug that once again if you haven't listened to that. But we'll see how it goes. This guy gets it. He's been in the SEC. He understands how it works. He has had success with his offense in the SEC. Give him time. I think he's going to do just fine down here. And, something we alluded to earlier, he doesn't get too worked up at what clowns like Jacob Heupel thinks or whomever. So, Heupel's a David Cutcliffe clone. We'll see on that. I like what he's addressed a lot of good stuff here. A big thing you mentioned is the defense and Tim Banks. He is a question mark right there. But I still like that defensive staff really well. I think it's a lot of good coaches. In the one, how does it mesh? How are they as a unit? Go Vols 24/7. If you haven't looked, they've released a couple times this week their projected starters and depth chart. And it's projected, so it can change along the way. But just looking at it, I was not as down on the talent when I looked at it, because on defense, there's a lot of experience on that defensive line. Yeah, linebackers hurt, but you had Juwan Mitchell. That helps. We'll see where it goes from there, but adding Turnage, adding Haddon in the secondary, plus you got Alontae Taylor, you got Burrell, your safeties are experienced. I think this defense might be a little better than we expect right there.
Turnage was huge. And I think if they had added Prunty, like either or, I think Austin Price on VolQuest said if he gets to choose, he's taking Turnage. But I would have taken either one, Turnage or Prunty, either one. I think was a huge addition, especially for depth. And like I said earlier, I think he starts. And I read that same article you're talking about on 24/7, and I think they had him starting. So,
yeah, well, they had Alontae Taylor and Burrell. They had Turnage at the 2. I wouldn't be surprised with Turnage and Haddon making impacts. Though again, I love their size, their speed, how they match up out there. Could one of these guys slide down to a nickel? I think the big question mark is, and I'm happy with Rodney Garner, he's going to get the best out of this defensive line. I think it's going to be similar to what Tracy Rocker did 2 years ago. Tracy Rocker coached his ass off 2 years ago, and people didn't appreciate that. Him and Chris Rump both, you saw production on those units, and then they left so they could recruit better. Huge mistake right there. Rodney Garner is going to develop these guys. They're going to play up to expectations. We're going to see what's going to happen if it's linebacker unit. But Juwan Mitchell's going to step in and start from day one. I have no doubt about that. And I think it's going to be a huge addition, and that's going to help stop the bleeding at that position a little bit as well. Now, the rest of that unit, though, it's up to Jean-Marie developing a Jeremy Banks, an Aaron Beasley, an Aaron Willis, or whomever. We don't want our long snapper to be in the 2 deep right there. Nothing against it. You've addressed that point many times. That's not a good sign when you're moving a long snapper to linebacker. And you still got walk-ons projected in the 2 and 3 deep there. So
it's huge. Obviously, Juwan Mitchell is huge, but it's huge that this team is getting Aaron Willis and Aaron Beasley back. That is huge for this football team. Let me hit this super chat real quick. Look, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can be like Jacob Yoop and get blocked and banned from the channel for being an idiot, or you can be like Possum. You can be an Alabama fan like Possum and say, I'm gonna throw my jabs at you. I'm gonna aggravate you guys, but I'm also gonna throw you a 10 spot. That ain't cheap. He says, Boogie, you'll need this to buy a 6er after the game on October the 23rd when the Tide wins 48-3. Well, I may or may not need it, but myself and the Indy Kid will split that. We'll have a good time. At least if Tennessee loses, we'll have a nice cold beverage, courtesy of Possum. Look, seriously, there's no problem with Alabama fans coming in here. I think Alan V. Troll Patrol's already left. All fans are welcome, but just don't be an idiot. If you're not an idiot, you won't get banned. It's simple. It's that simple. Let's finish up this press conference and wrap this thing up. I got to be at work. I got to get up at 4:45 in the morning. So let's get through this thing.
Balanced in our approach. You look at our numbers, run and pass, we're extremely balanced. And so our ability for us, it really starts with the run game. And it starts with the 5 guys up front, your tight ends, if they're playing, they're located in the core. And then our running backs have to be great with football in their hands. That is a position that we're relatively young at. We're hidden by the transfer portal, but really like the guys that we have on campus.
Okay, we have time for one more question. We'll come up here to the front here with Bob.
This one.
Hey, Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. You obviously work with Barry Odom at Mizzou. I was wondering.
Yeah, that was the pointless question.
Yeah, you could stop that. Yeah, it was like, come on, man. But
Donovan Milliken comes back with another $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Donovan. We appreciate it. He said, my dad is an Alabama fan, never trash talks me. I don't have a problem with trash talk. Trash talk's fine, but when you start insulting and running your mouth and just being disrespectful, then you can hit the road. Like, whatever. I have no problem with other fan bases hanging out here. It is what it is. I think it actually says a lot as to what we've built here on this channel. The fact that other fan bases kind of come in and want to hang out. It's all good. No problem at all. Look, what a great stream. Over 200 people hanging out. I think a lot of you guys enjoy when we do this with press conferences, so I thought it would be fun. Put up the bat signal. The Indy Kid was down. Dauber, like I said, celebrating a birthday early. But another way that you can support the channel, you can go grab the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. Just go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' VAWLS. Some of these are going to come down soon. Like these right here, the Diamond Ball shirts, they're going to stay up. Those are brand new for the baseball fans. So check those out. These probably will not stay up long. We've got some new merchandise coming out this fall. JP, a lot of people ask, where's JP? Where's he at? Where'd JP go? JP's no longer a part of the show. He just doesn't have the time to commit to it. It is what it is. We all left on good terms. JP might make a special appearance, especially if Tennessee ever beats Alabama again. I'm sure he'll be back on the channel for that. But these shirts will probably go away soon. But we got the Vol Hoop shirts. We got the State Pride shirts, one of my favorite logos. And then also just the clean cut logo merchandise, hoodies, T-shirts. And then these will probably go away. If you want Mount Rushmore shirts, they're probably going to be gone within the next couple of weeks as well. We're 2 weeks away. We are 2 weeks away from fall practice. I cannot wait. And also, if you want to drink your coffee, your water, your bourbon, or your Kool-Aid out of a Talkin' Vols coffee mug, you can grab that again. It's bonfire.com/store/Talkin' Vols. The link to that is in the description. Indy Kid, any final comments you want to make on the presser before we wrap this thing up? Tie a big fat bow on it and head out the door.
Oh, we got to get those Talkin' Vols pint glasses.
I know. I wish Bonfire had those. And we can use the I forget the name of the company that Dauber used to make these. I got sweat rings on it from playing golf in it. But we could probably dial up anything if we want to. But those hats were a special edition, limited edition, and they didn't sell very well. So we've not gone back to that. Derek Rogers with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Derek. We appreciate that. Says, I'm ready for some football. Go Big Orange. Derek walked up to our table. He slapped down a $5 bill and he said, I'm ready for some football. And he just walked away. Away. And we appreciate that, Derek. We appreciate that. Papa T says, I need to get a hoodie from Talkin' Vols.
Oh, I love this comment. Got to address it. You're talking to, unless you know anything about math and the law of averages. Huh? Well, it'd be funny if I taught math for a living right there. So knock it off, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay? I've already addressed you once on here. I didn't address this. Compare Peterman to Milton. Yeah, exactly. Maybe you switch systems. It works out. Peterman went to Pitt, became an NFL draft pick. Okay? Drop it. Drop it. And you're going to talk to us about math and the law of averages, right? Get real, dude. All right? Come on. There's things I'll let go. There's things that you want to talk to me about math and stuff. If you want to go at it any day of the week, I'm game. All right? So you're done.
I wonder how long it is till No Schmo gets banned.
No, I mean, he's not being a jerk or anything. He's just being stupid. So, he's had a vendetta with this Joe Milton over Harrison Bailey thing the whole time right here. So if you want to respond, No Schmo, that's fine. Okay. But you don't know what you're talking about on it. And I didn't even make that comment. But, a guy gets in a new system. It can be beneficial. We've seen it numerous times over the years. Quarterbacks don't work out.
How many Tennessee quarterbacks have left and had success elsewhere?
Yeah, but I mean, you want to make your point and disagree, that's fine. But when you mention talking math, oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious.
You guys only thought the JP rants were good. Wait, the Indy Kid, he's a loose cannon. You guys think I'm bad when I yell at people in the chat? It's like having two boogies back on the show. I can't control him. I got business. I got to take care of business. Donovan Milliken says, Boogie, are you going to do the weekly prediction on Facebook this year? Last year we started a pick 'em. Dauber was in charge of it, and then he just randomly quit. No, I guess JP was doing it. JP was doing it in the group. Yeah, Donovan, we'll figure it out. Well, we'll do a weekly pick 'em, and the winner will give away whatever merchandise you guys want, whether it's a hoodie, T-shirt, whatever. We'll find a way. We'll just have to keep track of it. There's something else here.
Terry Reed just hit the nail on the head. Joe Burrow was at Ohio State. He came to LSU. They got Joe Brady, and look what happened. Record setting right there. It's all about system right there. And I'm not defending that Joe Milton was some Heisman winner, some All-American at Michigan. You know, you look at the numbers, it's concerning. I agree. But, you know, maybe you go to a more quarterback-friendly system, it works out for you.
I'm trying to take care of business, and you guys keep poking the bear. Terry Reed wants to know, Boogie, explain how to subscribe. I'm assuming you mean explain how to become a member of the channel. Well, if you just want to subscribe, all that means is you're subscribed to our channel. You can click the bell for notifications. It'll send an alert to your phone, tell you when we're live. So just hit subscribe, click that little bell for notifications. If you want to become a member of the channel, you can see here, Terry Reed on the screen has that little logo beside his name. It highlights in green, so I see it. He pays 99 cents or $2.99 a month. You can pick. You get access to custom Talkin' Vols emojis. And also, when I see that little logo and I see you highlighted, you guys have seen it. Terry Reed's been popping up on the screen. Papa T's been popping up on the screen. A lot of guys are members of the channel. Who else here? Let me scroll up. Ryan Drew, member of the channel. Elijah Allen, David Bays. Why are these guys popping up on the screen and my comments not? Because they're members of the channel. And when you're a member of the channel, I specifically highlight your comment. It doesn't mean I'm going to read it. Just means I'm going to try to highlight it if possible. If you want your comment read, drop a super chat. You do that below. Just hit the $sign as well. A lot of new people joining the channel, becoming subscribers. This thing is growing like wildfire. Thanks, Terry, for reminding me to let them know how to do that. Just hit the join button right beside subscribe. If you've got an Apple iPhone, you got to go through your internet browser and you have to do it from desktop. It's a pain in the butt. But once you join, once you're a member, then you can use it on your iPhone. Clay Barrett becomes a member of the channel. Thank you, Clay. We appreciate it. It's just a commitment. It's just 99 cents a month. Or you can go a little higher and it's $2.99 a month. Whatever you want to do, we appreciate it. You can throw the custom Talkin' Vols emojis in the live chat or also in the comment section of videos or after we go off air. I think that's it. I think we're done. I think we got to wrap this thing up.
That's a lot. It's still, like I said,
you're still human.
No, it's still, the videos are cool. You know, when we've done the series, this and that, but live audience, you can't beat that. You guys are awesome, regardless of whether you agree with us, you disagree with us, or what have you. It's a blast to do live shows.
All right, I think that's it. I think we're going to wrap this one up. I'm throwing custom emojis in the chat like crazy. If you haven't done it yet, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Got 160 people watching. We're at 131. Let's crank that thing up to like 200. Randall Zimmerman asking about Alontae Taylor's press conference. I'm probably going to be doing videos. I'll talk to the indie kid after we go off air. Probably do a video on Alontae Taylor's and also Valus Jones comments and just kind of break it up and clip it and drop videos tomorrow. Don't forget Thursday, the next episode of the Fall of the VAWLS as we move into the firing of Philip Fulmer. And then the next episode will be the Lane Kiffin era. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. But that's it. That's going to wrap it up. He's the Indie Kid. I'm Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin' Vols Network. And I just have one last thing to say. Actually, I'll let this guy say it.
To be the man, you got to beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here.
The dogs howl